Hi, everyone. Welcome back. This is the official statement released by Modern Prairie, Melissa Gilbert's own brand. They posted this after the media broke the story about the serious allegations involving her husband, Timothy Busfield. I'm sure you know what's going on there. So before I even open their Synastry, I want you to see the tone of this. This is not light or casual. This is a company stepping out in front of something that they can no longer ignore. And the part that gave me the chills is this. The astrology already mapped this energy years before this PR statement ever hit the internet. This is a mythic asteroid collision. One person carries the shadow. The other, which is her, becomes the flashlight that exposes it. This is a chart with an underworld signature from the very beginning. And why the PR statement makes perfect sense when you see the whole chart and all of the aspects and the dynamics that go along with it. Her Mira asteroid and Neptune conjuncts his north node and nemesis. So this already tells you what story that you're walking into. Mira is the asteroid of crossed boundaries, sexual violations, and forbidden transgressions. So the relationship path that they shared was tied to taboo themes becoming unavoidable and woven into their fate. And her Neptune sitting there, this wraps the whole thing in a glamour spell. Neptune on the North Node is the fantasy partner, the idealized soulmate, the illusion that this was meant to be. It's a mirage, and she wrapped his destiny in a fog and illusion. Now, her Neptune conjuncting his nemesis, this brings betrayal on his part, and she will be in a fog and she's going to be in denial about it. Now, his Mira, Lysistrata, Priapus, is on her ascendant. So this man walked in carrying his entire underworld in a suitcase and placed it right on her front doorstep. His Mira on her ascendant is the shadow entering her house wearing a friendly face, and the partner who brings taboo sexual energy right into the relationship. And his Lysistrata on her ascendant, this adds the archetype of sexual power plays, and she meets him, but she only sees the mask, not the person underneath. And Priapus on the ascendant is the appetite without limits. So this is classic energy for you do not see the real story until the universe rips the curtain wide open. Now, her sun conjuncts his south node and Persephone, and this says it all. She steps into his life and walks straight into his unfinished dark underworld storyline. Persephone is the girl picking flowers, thinking she's safe, and then the ground cracks open beneath her feet and Hades comes up and drags her into the depths of the underworld. And she never saw this coming. And she's pulled into a world that she didn't choose, not consciously. Persephone is stolen innocence, and there's hidden truths. It's the doorway into someone else's darkness. It's the moment that life shifts from daylight to the underworld darkness, and she becomes the light that accidentally shines into his chamber that he's been living in long before she arrived because of her sun on the south node. Now, her Jupiter conjuncts his Hades at 0 degrees. This blows open the doorway to his underworld. Jupiter expands everything that it touches. And Hades is the darkness and the power associated with Persephone, like I said. So when she steps into his life, the darkness that he buried gets louder, and her presence makes the shadow hard to contain because of Jupiter. Now, his Valentine and Antinous is on her Venus. Valentine is sacrificial love and devotion. It makes her see him as the ideal partner. She thought he was bringing real love and emotional safety. And because Venus in Cancer, it's that familiar warm feeling. It feels like home. It's a spell that's doubled here, but it's actually tripled because his moon conjuncts her vertex. And we have Neptune here as well. Now, this softened her vision even further. But Antinous is not soft. Antinous is the gay god, the archetype of the beloved who becomes a symbol instead of a person. He represents projection and idealization. So what happened here is simple in this aspect. Venus made him look devoted. Venus in Cancer made her feel safe. Antinous hid behind that, creating a fantasy version of himself that she responded to. And she saw this love and devotion. She saw the comfort, but she did not see the Antinous figure behind the curtain. She didn't see him behind the projection and the myth and the image that was crafted to be admired. So this is why she thought she met a soulmate, and only later realized that she met a mask, not who she thought he was. Now, her requiem conjuncts his Venus, and this is a signature of a love story that eventually becomes a eulogy. The funeral bell is ringing here, and it's ringing loud, and the love relationship eventually ends. It's on its last funeral bell. His Neptune is conjuncting her IC. This is the mist that slides underneath the door. The IC is your roots, your private world, your emotional basement. It's the place where your instinct either whispers yes or warns you to run. Now, when someone's Neptune sits on your IC, the foundation turns blurry. You cannot see the cracks or the truth. You can't see the warnings. It works like a fog machine pointed at your inner compass. So his Neptune on her IC, it makes her believe the best version of him. It makes her see him as it makes her see something that really isn't there. His energy carries a whole underworld suitcase. It's the emotional blindfold. It's the part of the story where she thinks that she's walking into a sanctuary with him, but she's actually walking into a mirage, and it's built out of fog and wishful thinking, and it leads to the underground darkness, like I said, with Persephone and those asteroids on her ascendant. Now, his Bacchus is on her south node. This is the archetype of unrestrained behavior, taboo indulgence, and the moment that someone stops caring about consequences with their over-the-top behavior, and she accepts this as familiar. Bacchus on the south node, it primes her to miss the red flags through an old karmic script. The karmic script that says, I've been here, I know this energy, this doesn't really feel dangerous yet. It lowers her inner alarm system, and because the south node energies feel familiar to you. So this synastry is not a love story. It's the moment when the myth turns and the light in her chart exposes the darkness in his. So she did not walk towards danger. Danger walked toward her, wearing devotion and softness because of Valentine and Venus, and then the mask could not hold. Because eventually, in her transit chart, Saturn and Neptune are overlaying into her 8th house, and both those planets are squaring her Venus. That combination exposes a partner's hidden life and collapses the illusion. So Saturn in the 8th brings consequences and legal walls. And Neptune in the 8th house dissolves the deception and realizes or reveals the double life. So when both Neptune and Saturn are squaring her Venus, the story becomes personal and devastating. It hits the marriage. It destroys the trust and the shared foundation of everything. Astrologically, this is the storyline of his hidden life being revealed and his downfall and the scandal forcing separation from betrayal, like I said before with Nemesis, and the crisis that comes through the public image. This is the kind of transit where someone realizes they were living inside a Neptune smoke version of the marriage while Saturn was quietly building the consequences behind the scenes. So when Saturn drops the hammer, it drops it hard, and that's happening now. So in her situation, the chart, the Synastry chart, and the transit events, everything is perfectly aligned here, and it's coming into fruition here. And she's got transiting Pluto squaring her Mars and Mercury. So Pluto doesn't play nice. Pluto is like, that's it. This has to come to an end. All of this, the story that you think is true because of Mercury and the power behind it, Pluto is transforming it and it's coming to an end. So that's all I have today. And I will be back shortly with other charts. And if you're interested in getting a Synastry, I'm available and I will be back shortly. So press the subscribe button to stay in the orbit and have a great day.